All right, everybody, this is your boy Ted Jr. Your boy Ted Jr. right here on Life on Wax with Ted Jr. And I have a special guest in the house today, y'all. Got another special guest, Doctor. You gotta make sure you put that respect on it.
Put some respect on my name, Ted.
Dr. Kendra Holmes, right here from COO of Affinia Healthcare. Doctor, why don't you say hey to everybody for us?
Hello, Ted. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are all well.
So Dr. Holmes, should I call you?
You call me Kendra.
I just want to, I don't need no problems.
No, we good.
So Kendra, I just want to let you know that we are excited. I'm excited to have you on the show. You are a person that I have seen do some really dope stuff. And anybody that watches our show knows that anybody that comes on here is coming on because, well, selfishly, I want to talk to them. But even more so because I consider them to be a local legend.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And that's not just a title. That's a challenge. And I see you every day that I see you. You're stepping up and creating history and creating a legacy for yourself and for our city. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my duty. So thank you.
So everybody that knows the show, you know that I asked for 5 songs. That's right, 5 songs from my guests. And you think you know a person. You think you look at a person from afar and you see the work and the things that they do, you see how they compose and comport themselves, and you think you know folks. But boy, when you get into that playlist, you learn people. See, the playlist is what tells you about the core of a person. If you ask me, it's about the core. And so I have 5 songs. And so what we're gonna get into Kendra's playlist. Talk a little bit about why these songs are part of her motivation, inspiration, and life experiences. And then we're gonna just have a good time getting to know each other. How about that?
Perfect.
So we're gonna jump right in to our first song. And I tell you, before this season, this group hadn't showed up a lot. But they showed up on this day.
Okay.
Public Enemy.
Yes.
Can't Trust It.
Absolutely.
Now this song is, it's a song that a lot of people don't recognize this song from being Public Enemy. They don't really know it. They know Fight the Power. They know 911 is a joke. They know those. But Can't Trust It is another one that is another song that's speaking to people. That intro.
Yes.
Man.
That's it.
So I'm not gonna give it all away. We're gonna listen to a little bit of Can't Trust It. When we come back, we'll talk to Kendra about why the song is on her playlist.
Okay.
All right. So y'all, this is Life on Wax with your boy Ted Jr. My guest, Dr. Kendra Holmes. First song's up is Public Enemy, Can't Trust It. Those boys. So talk to us about why this song made it to your playlist.
So I'm a little bit more Malcolm than Martin. Okay. So Public Enemy has always been one of my favorite groups, and the message that they put out in their music has always appealed to me. And just my appeal and what I feel is my life's work for equity, for African Americans, for underserved people. So, when you have situations where, Ahmaud Arbery is being gunned down in the street, you can't trust it. We have to advocate for ourselves. We have to assure that, Black men are not targets. And at this point, that's exactly what Black men are. And I'm just the type of person that, I call it what it is. And very similar to what's going on with the COVID-19 situation, when there were no testing sites in African-American areas, but you knew the African Americans were going to be disproportionately impacted. You know, I call it what it is. People may call it that, you know, we have health disparities. I call it systemic racism because that's exactly what it is. So that's why I'm a Public Enemy fan.
There we go. I tell you, I love one thing I love about Public Enemy and what I love about black people who own their power is that when you are out and speaking and saying exactly how things should go, stuff moves.
You're absolutely right. Either you're going to move or you're going to move out of my way because I'm going to get it done. So
100%. Especially, and this can't trusted thought, especially today, as we get more information about the brother down in Georgia, Ahmad.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'll be honest, when I first heard the story, it was probably a month ago.
Okay.
But the story that came out was different than the truth.
Right.
And I have to remind myself sometimes that when stories come out, you shouldn't just trust them.
You can't. You can't trust it at all.
Because they initially were saying that he was robbing a house and he got chased. I felt like that was wrong anyway. But I'm like, I mean, I guess if he was committing a crime, if he was while committing a crime, I mean, that kind of thing can't happen. That's sad. It's upsetting, but it can't happen.
It can't happen, but they're still not the judge, jury, and executioner. He still has a right to a trial. If I'm robbing a house, you don't have the right to kill me.
100%. And I'm just glad that more truth is coming out.
Yes.
And I'm glad more truth is coming out, and people are actually talking about it, and actually stepping up and making there be some kind of different push toward it. So now what I understand is I guess the Justice Department nationally is looking at it.
Yeah.
And so and trying to take it over, which you know.
But what kind of privilege is that to murder a person and still not be in jail? You know, that must be a great privilege to have. And I don't think a lot of black men have that privilege.
And not even have to worry about being in jail maybe for another few months.
No.
Because the court's not open.
Right.
Like it's anyway. So that but then also you mentioned the COVID, what's happening in COVID-19.
Yes.
And I want us to talk a bit more about that and the response, and then your response to the response.
Okay. So the response was subpar. I'll try to be politically correct.
So first, let me just, before you even go forward, just so you know, you being politically correct is not for the show.
Okay. No, that's
for us. Because I like when people say it ugly, personally.
Okay. So the response was pathetic. You know, we very much know that African Americans have higher rates of chronic diseases that will be impacted by a virus, a pandemic such as COVID-19. So to place initially testing sites and locations in West County and South County that don't have those health disparities, when you knew that African American people from day one, the people making these decisions are intelligent people. You knew from day one African American people would be impacted. They knew from day one that African American people would die, but you did not put any testing in our communities. So the response was pathetic. The response is just, once again, just systematic racism, not a lack of access to health care for African Americans. And, you know, when I talk about the people, you know, it's really important when you have a seat at the table, that you are a voice and an advocate for underserved, vulnerable populations. And, you know, whoever was at that table when those decisions were made, you know, hey, shame on you for not saying we need to also take care of the vulnerable people.
Come on.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because people often say they want to sit at the table, and that's fine. But if you're just gonna sit there like a bump,
Right.
What's the point? You might as well not be there.
You might as well not be there.
Might as well not be there.
A lot of people are afraid, especially with African Americans in executive positions. You're afraid because, a lot of times the environments are hostile. A lot of times you are the only person that is there representing an African American. But, I'm just not built that way where I can sit there and see my people suffering and not speak up. I just wasn't built that way.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But we're going to get back into the playlist.
All right.
Because you got my uncle on your playlist next. You got my uncles on your playlist.
Okay.
Charlie Wilson and his brothers.
Okay.
The great Gap Band.
Yes. Yeah.
Outstanding. So we're gonna check out Outstanding. We'll be right back with Dr. Kendra Holmes right here on Life on Wax with your boy Ted Jr. Outstanding. Now, this is definitely the jam.
Yes, it is.
And the Gap Band, I think a lot of times is or has been is terribly undervalued as a group in the 70s and 80s. And Uncle Charlie. You can't. I mean, come on. But you tell us why you love this song or why you have it in your playlist.
So Ted, this is my theme song. This is my theme song. This is how I live my life. Everything that I do, I try to do it, at 150%. A lot of people have helped me to get where I am. So I feel that it is really my obligation to help other people. So, if it's, working or volunteering or mentoring other, African-American women, or, working on a board to, help incarcerated men, everything that I do, I have to do it to an outstanding level. So that's always my theme song. That's what I play on my way to work. That's what I play when I go doing my COVID testing. And, as African Americans, I know you've heard, we've got to be, 3 times better. I don't have the privilege of doing subpar work and still being here. So it's not fair, but I think that's what drives a lot of us to be great. And I'm not mad at it because that's why we're outstanding.
No, it's funny you say that because as you said it, I was thinking that we have to be, so much better because we don't have the privilege.
Right.
I was thinking that exact same thing. And one thing that I recognize though is that's okay.
It's perfect.
It's okay because if I have the choice to be mediocre,
right,
or to be outstanding, like it may not be fair, but it's okay.
It's fine
because it just makes me even better.
It's threatening to people.
Yes,
it's threatening.
It's threatening.
Yeah.
So let's think about. Well, tell me about in your I guess your experience, because you're a high performing, a high level executive in an organization, company, and you're outstanding. I'm sure you're threatening to many layers of people.
You know what?
How do you handle being you in a position like that?
So I am the only African American on my senior team. I will say that what keeps me motivated is that I'm here for my community. This is my city. This is my community. This is my people. So whatever somebody possibly tries to throw at me, whatever intimidation, it really is something that I just keep moving, and it actually motivates me to be greater. So, it is difficult, being an African American woman in a corporate position. They come for you, they come for you, but I mean, I'm definitely up for the challenge. You got to get up real early in the morning to get me. That's the Charlie Wilson song too. You gotta just don't come for me unless I send for you. That's kind of my motto, my motto right there. Yeah.
One thing that is interesting that you picked this song in particular and this band in particular, because when I learned about the Gap, a bit about the Gap band, that they're from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and even the name GAP Gap is for like an intersection and from where they grew up in Greenwood. And for those that know, that's where that was the area, the Black Wall Street area.
Right.
They got bombed, and so they've got some history wrapped up just in their name and just the core of who they are. And so, like picking that and you being who you are, I was like, man, look at that, it just kind of matches so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you said sometimes you have to deal with people maybe coming at you in your role. When's the last time that kind of thing happened? And
what time?
What did
it's 2:34, like 1:50.
Oh man. Well, how do you handle I know you continue to do you do what you do, but everybody isn't in that position. But so how would you advise someone who's coming up against that? How would you advise them to handle that kind of stuff?
So I'm a direct person, and a lot of times the intimidation is indirect. It's that passive aggressive. So generally when I have an issue like that, when you're direct with the person, they generally will back down. I'm not saying to be unprofessional, but I'm going to tell you directly what it is. And luckily they back down, but you just have to be confident. You have to be confident in what you do and your decisions. And they still will come, but you'll be equipped to handle whatever it is. So just work on your confidence, work on, not being afraid to, be the only minority in the room. To me, it's at my advantage because I know this community. I know the people. I'm able to communicate. And there's a certain level of trust that I have with my community that others don't. So, it's about confidence.
Yeah. So be confident and then continue to be excellent.
Right.
Because what they're going to do.
And check them if you got to. You know what I'm saying? Check them if you got to.
Come on.
Professionally. But sometimes you got to check them.
One thing I think is when you check somebody the right way, you don't ever have to do it again. You don't ever have to do it again, boy.
Right.
And they will spread the word.
Spread the word. Don't come for me.
I'm not the one to be messed with. I'm with that 100%. So let's get back into your playlist. We're gonna get to another group. So that was the Gap band. But now we're gonna get into Isley Brothers.
Yes.
Which is another amazing group, R&B group. What made you add Isley Brothers to your playlist?
So
the song "Harvest for the World."
I'm definitely an old head, and I love old school music. I love the Isley Brothers. Grew up listening to the Isley Brothers. My mom was a big Isley Brothers fan. But that song, Harvest for the World, I think that really speaks to what I feel is my life's work. And that's, again, just making things equitable for underserved populations. So a harvest, when can we have it where all individuals have the opportunity to make their opportunity, without these barriers, without, lack of transportation, without lack of access to healthcare, allow people to meet their true potential. And I think that's something that appeals to me. This is the work that I do every day. So that's why I Harvest for the World.
Harvest for the World right here on Life on Wax with your boy, Ted Jr., my guest, Dr. Kendra Holmes. We're going to listen to it for a minute. We'll be right back to the show. So you talked about this being your life's work. How we haven't really talked about how you got into this to be your life's work.
Okay, so I am a pharmacist by trade. So I have a doctorate of pharmacy. I graduated from St. Louis College of Pharmacy. I went to Metro High School. Did you go to Metro?
No, I'm just repping. No, I'm just repping.
So actually, my first love, and this might sound a little strange, is American history. I love American history. I love the Civil War. I can name just about every battle of the Civil War. But I knew that I, was really good in chemistry, science, math, and I wanted to have a salary that supported my lifestyle. So I went for pharmacy. I came to, then it was Grace Hill Health Centers. I came to Grace Hill right out of college. I was at medicine shop for about a year, but just always had a passion for underserved. I was very fortunate to grow up where, we weren't rich, but we had what we needed, you know what I'm saying? So just always, and it's part of just my upbringing, I always wanted to, to help people, to give people an opportunity again to meet their true potential. So started as a staff pharmacist, was promoted probably within 2 months to director of pharmacy, stayed in that role for a couple of years. And then I was promoted to director of radiology and pharmacy, then promoted again to director of pharmacy, radiology, and lab. Another promotion to vice president of clinical operations, and then finally to vice president and chief operating officer, which I've been in this role for 5 years.
Wow. So you just kept on stepping on up.
Yes.
I love that. So what was the thing, or was there a particular instance that made you say, I need to make sure that I'm doing things that are equitable for my people? Was there an event or circumstance or set of events that told you, yeah, this I have to do it this way?
So I think when I started at Grace Hill initially, it was the pharmacy was located in a kitchen. It wasn't like a Walgreens. It was actually in a house in a kitchen. And I walked into the pharmacy, and they had been unable to recruit a pharmacist for like 4 years because no one wanted to work there. It's in Old North St. Louis, Hadley location, very impoverished area. And someone reached out to me, actually one of the priests who I was working with on a homeless project reached out to me and said, I think that they're looking for a pharmacist at Grace Hill and you should go check it out. So I went there, and they were like, oh, she's not going to take this job. And when I walked in there and I saw how the pharmacy was and how the population, the community was, the subpar situation that they were in, that, they were having to have their prescriptions filled in a pharmacy, that type of thing really appealed to me. Like, I need to be here. I need to bring this up to a level where they deserve this, because, no one deserves to live, in abject poverty and not have good facilities to go to school and to go to see the doctor. So I think that was kind of my first, I'm sorry, my light that went up. That was kind of my first real, inclination that I wanted to be there and I wanted to, help that population. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with the community, and I never left. I've been here for 17 years.
That's what's up. That's a really good story, because I always wonder if there is an event. Like you all might have, like you always have maybe the gumption or the feeling in your soul that you want to do a thing, but then there's something like going to Grace Hill that propels you to actually begin action. And I see you on a regular basis. I read the papers and I see you on news and on social media out here doing action. Yeah. So I know we talked earlier about the COVID-19 response and how piss poor that was, right. and how there weren't weren't or testing centers in the areas where it should be. What was that conversation like to get to have Affinia begin to do the centers in all places that they are now?
So one of the reasons that I work at Affinia is that we are definitely mission driven, and we do have the best interests of the community and the patients at heart. And that's why I've stayed for so long. But that discussion was actually a discussion at our board, and I made the actual motion for that. We were discussing COVID-19 testing, and we were discussing a bunch of different locations. And I said, you know what, if we're doing this, it's North City, it's North County. That's where the greatest need is. That's where it needs to go. And that was pretty much it. And if they would have said somewhere else, it was going to be a problem, because you have the data, you have the health disparities, you have the amount of asthma and respiratory illness in North City and North County. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. This is a respiratory virus that the testing should go in the most vulnerable population. So that's exactly how that discussion went. And then that was our first one that we had on 1717 Biddle, just north of downtown.
Yeah. And
then as we started seeing just more of the cases, the increase in African Americans being impacted, the first death, it was just like, we need to be in North County. We need to be, farther north. We need to be here. And just really, we're very data driven. So it's not an emotional response. Okay, I need to go to Pagedale. We looked at the numbers. We saw where the greatest amount of deaths, the greatest amount of incidents was, and that's where we put the testing sites.
Well, I'm glad that we had somebody there to bring that specific attention and be able to say it, and there not be there's no real debate. There's no debate.
There's no debate, and that's where it should have been. I mean, but I was prepared for that debate, but no, there was no debate.
I love it. So the next song you have on your playlist, Kendra, is a beautiful song, and it's by my sister. She's actually like a sister of mine, like for real, my sister.
Okay, so you got sister, you got Uncle Charlie. Okay.
I mean, these are my people. Hey, I'm Ted Jr. I got people. What can I say?
Okay, I feel you.
India Ari, she wrote this song, Brown Skin. I love it. I love the song personally. I love the song, love the video, love the whole energy around it. But talk to us about why this song is in your playlist.
So, again, when you look at how society is, and everything negative is associated with Blackness, and the color of our skin. And again, we're talking about Black men going for a jog and being murdered. It's just something that is, I think, an inspirational, motivational song to really celebrate Blackness and the beauty of our skin. If you follow me on social media, you see a lot of my hashtags are melanin popping, because, I feel that, I think Black is beautiful. I know Black is beautiful. And we really need to do, I think, a better job of letting our children, our little boys, know that they're beautiful, they're valuable, their skin is beautiful. And I think that song just really exemplifies what I feel about, just Blackness.
Love it. All right, y'all. It's Brown Skin, India Ari, right here, Life on Wax with your boy Ted Jr., my guest, Dr. Kendra Holmes. I'm telling you, I love music.
Yes.
And so one of the selfish reasons I do this show is because I'm always interested in hearing new songs or revisiting songs that I've loved before. And I mean, I've been doing the show now for 3 seasons. Okay. So I have a lot of playlists of about 5 songs from a lot of different people that I can just listen to whenever I want. We also have, just by the way, for everyone listening, we also have on Spotify a season 1 playlist, season 2 playlist, and building season 3 playlist as we go. So you can always check out all of the songs that have been brought in. Brown Skin was actually a song that a sister on my 2nd show ever She brought brown skin,
Okay.
and so I love it. I love it. So we talked about you talked about the importance uh of people not only loving their skin, but but us as a community kind of being like loving each other in our skin,
Right.
and understanding that Black people are also out here being persecuted.
Absolutely.
You know, we talked about the brother that was killed by the brother Ahmad that was killed back in February. And in St. Louis we've had our own situation with a few Von Derek, but also of course Mike Brown.
Right.
What effect or how did what happened with Mike Brown affect the work that you do, or just you in general personally?
So yeah, that it just really it hurt because what it really showed to me was that Black lives didn't matter to a large segment of the population. And it just really strengthened my resolve to advocate for Black men, for Black women, in particular probably for Black men, because I just feel that there are so many barriers and obstacles that Black men have to face, and that's not making an excuse for anyone. But if you really look at it, there are additional barriers that Black men have to face. As if you look at mass incarceration, that's Black men. So one thing that I'm involved in that I'm really proud of is that I serve on Prosecutor Wesley Bell's Diversion Advisory Committee, and he is doing some great work in the county to decrease the amount of African Americans and individuals in general who are incarcerated in the Justice Center. So he actually has had a 30% decrease in the amount of individuals incarcerated at the Justice Center. So that type of work is really meaningful to me. The work that we're doing with diversion is that we're linking individuals who have substance abuse or behavioral health issues to programs. So, people who have substance abuse issues, and that's the only issue. They didn't commit a violent crime. They got caught with heroin because they're addicted to heroin. Putting them in jail does not take away that addiction.
Right.
So, they get out, they're still addicted, they get back in. So we're doing a lot of work to, really help that population to, to get the resources that they need so that we don't have to have, these 18, 19-year-old Black boys being incarcerated and their entire life is gone by 18. So, when you talk about, Mike Brown and Ferguson, that's really the impact that it had on me, just really to advocate for Black men and for Black boys.
Love that. Love that. So we've talked a lot about the things that you're doing as through Affinia, and the things that you're doing now with the Diversion Task Force. You also talked about earlier when you said you wanted to be able to handle your lifestyle. To me, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But to me, what played in my head. Do you remember the movie? Remember the movie with Eddie Murphy?
Which one?
Doctor was it Doctor? Not Doctor Doolittle. The one with Sherman Klump.
Oh, Professor Club. Yeah. Yeah.
Professor, when dude was on stage, he said, "Women be shopping."
So I be shopping.
That played immediately in my head because I don't know if anybody else follows you on social media. That melanin popping hashtag often is on a photo of you posing in the fit of the day.
Right.
Is that something that you just do for yourself and just because you enjoy it, or?
So I love clothes. And before COVID, I went to I have a lot of events that I have to go to just with my job and the different boards and organizations that I'm on. So I'm a very social person, and yes, I share a lot on social media. So yeah.
What was the last event or thing you went to that you just said, man, this was the most fun ever?
The most fun ever.
The last really good time you had out at one of these events.
So I think the Power 100 event, that was probably the last kind of gala that I went to with Keith Griffin. That was a great event. Yeah, I go to a lot.
I imagine you're a person that people want to have in the room and have in the building.
I get a lot of invitations.
Well, I'm going to invite everybody into this last song on your playlist. About that, the last song on your playlist here is Tupac, my man Tupac, and the great song "Dear Mama," which is interesting because this is the second week in a row that we've had Tupac, "Dear Mama." We had Art McCoy on last week, and he chose it too. So
okay.
So talk about why you make sure this is a song on your playlist here.
So basically, everything that I am is because of my mother. My work ethic, me as a parent, just the love for the community. That was something that I always saw with my mother. Always trying to take in somebody, trying to help somebody, trying to feed somebody, and again, just everything that I am as a person, I attribute to just the upbringing and the love that I received from my mother and my family. And there is just absolutely nothing like a mother's love. What?
Yes.
Everybody else will leave you, but your mama is gonna be there for you. And I have a son who's 13, and I feel he is just the absolute world to me. So that's my baby, and I'm his mama, and this is why this song really resonates with me.
Man, 13.
13.
Man, it's on the way.
He's an angel.
Oh, he's an angel. I'm just like, because I know me at 13. So let's listen to Dear Mama a little bit. We'll be right back. Life on Wax with your boy Ted Jr., my special guest, Dr. Kendra Holmes. So you said you talked about your mother being inspiration for you. What's something that you learned from her? One specific thing you learned from her that you incorporate in your daily life?
I would say that directness, directness definitely comes from my mother. If something wasn't right, she doesn't sugarcoat it. Is going to be exactly what it is. And I think that really helps to build your confidence. So if something doesn't feel right, if something is not right, if someone is not being treated fairly, she always told me to voice my opinion and advocate for people. And that's what I continue to do. So
kind of on the other end of that, you have a 13-year-old. What's something that he's taught you that you said, man, that was important, that was really good, or that's important for me to know or learn?
So I think, I'm not sure what he's taught me, but I think that my respect and my appreciation for Black boys and for Black men has definitely increased with having a Black son. Because I look at men who are incarcerated, and that was somebody's baby. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't come out doing whatever. There were situations, circumstances that put someone at that position, and I think it just has made me have a greater appreciation and value for Black boys and for Black men. So I think that's what I definitely have learned from my son.
Awesome. That's amazing, and I'm really appreciative of everything, because we've learned a lot today on this show, and I really thank you for really sharing a lot of your story with us.
Thank you for having me, Ted. We have to do it again one day.
Of course, of course. Now, we're getting to the last 3 questions of the show.
Okay.
Now, generally, when we get to these questions, I haven't given you any kind of heads up as to what the questions might be. And I, as you can hear, I play my song.
Oh, that's your song. I like this song too. Yeah,
I love this song. So I play this song so that you can be thinking positively about these questions.
Okay. Okay.
So, for anybody wondering, that Sounds of Blackness optimistic. They have a old school '90s video that you can definitely watch and get your whole life together.
Right.
So last 3 questions. First question. So you are in charge of putting together a collaborative song with 2 artists, like a duet. Which 2 artists are you picking to do this song?
Do they have to still be alive?
Nah.
Okay. Pimp C and 8-Ball.
Oh. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. That was left field. That was left field.
That was like, yeah. You weren't expecting that. You weren't expecting that.
But that's dope. Actually, that's dope. Okay. Dope. So now, second question: what is a song, album, artist that people that know you would be surprised or I don't know, shocked is kind of heavy, but surprised that you love?
So it probably is, again, UGK. I'm a huge UGK fan. Yeah.
Look at it. There it is. And then last question. Now you have tickets to one concert with any artist, dead or alive. Who you going to see?
Teddy Pendergrass.
Look at it. You know he's an uncle, right? You know he one of the other uncles.
That's your other uncle.
You know, he was named after.
Right.
You know, my namesake. And yeah, I wasn't ready for that UGK. So Teddy Pendergrass. Why Teddy?
Oh, I love Teddy's voice. I just, I think, again, when you talk about artists who are underrated, Teddy, the voice was just absolutely amazing.
So I know I watched this. It might have been an unsung or something about him.
Yeah.
And his brother used to his shows.
He'll get it on. Yeah.
I remember. I think it was Tom Jordan was talking about it and said it would be him and Teddy and no other men.
Oh yes, the women. Yeah.
He said Tom was like, I hosted and Teddy performed, and there was no men anywhere to be found. And Teddy be up there sweating in the shiny outfit, sweating with no shirt, like shirt open.
Hey, yes.
The taco meat, all this, I mean, just in it.
The taco meat.
Teddy Pendergrass. There we go. All right.
Yes.
There we go. So once again, it's been an absolute pleasure, Kendra, to have you on the show. Usually at this point, I give my guests a chance. If you want to say anything, just for my audience, give them any kind of advice or thoughts or whatever, you can please do that. And then if there's ways to contact you, you can throw that there on the end. Okay.
So we're all talking about COVID-19. So if you or family member need COVID-19 testing, you can call our hotline. It's 314-833-2777 to be screened. We also will be on Monday of next week. We will be at the old Sears building on that lot doing screening for the public. There is no appointment necessary. There's no symptoms. The CDC recently changed the criteria that made African Americans and other minority group a priority for testing with or without symptoms.
Wow.
Not a lot of that information is getting out there. Notice that.
That's not. No.
You can't trust it because you can't trust it. But I'm going to tell you. So we'll be at the Sears lot on Monday from 9 to noon during testing, COVID-19 testing, free of charge. If you need testing, come see us.
There it is. Well, I want to thank you once again for being on the show.
Thanks, Ted.
Everyone, thank you again for watching and listening. Remember, you can always catch the edited show on Spotify under Life on Wax with Ted Jr. Also, these videos live on the Life on Wax with Ted Jr. page on Facebook. And you can always listen to our playlist from previous seasons on Spotify. Just look for Life on Wax with Ted Jr. playlist. All right. Thanks so much for listening. You have a great rest of the day.